Hello, celestial wizards inhabiting Earth. In today's episode, we talked to Fēnix Grace, a psychic mentor, healer, and astrologer. We talked about intuitive development, energetic protection, and growing into your sensitivity. I'm Lauren Leon.
Y yo soy Panchito, tu amigo y consejero espiritual.
We are a married couple learning how to develop our own intuition. And this is episode 98 of Clairvoyaging.
Vamos, viajeros!
Wayfeather Media presents Clairvoyaging.
What it is?
Hello, friend.
What's fresh?
Wow.
What's up, home slice?
Did you hear Frank's Spanish in that cold open?
It took a lot of practice.
I'm so proud of you.
Thanks.
That was great.
Thank you very much.
Hi, guys. You know, we've missed you. We keep mentioning that things will shift as we go into our 100th episode because we're very close to that. Mm-hmm. And beyond that, we're excited to see how the podcast evolves. We're going to be doing some deep dives and like small series on certain topics. So I just want to say, if there's something that you want us to get into, send us an email at clairvoyagingpodcast@gmail.com or write a comment on Spotify or send us a text.
Throw it somewhere. We'll find it.
Send it by pigeon and we will get it.
I don't have my pigeon receiving setup available at the moment.
Yeah, okay. All
but
right.
Please give me a reason to have that.
Everything but pigeons?
Nah, do the pigeons. I'll have it worked out by the time they get here.
Send us a raven.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Hey, some examples of topics, something that came up recently. Someone's like, Frank, you kind of danced around like spirit boards, Ouija boards a little bit. We want to know more about it. I said, okay. Mm-hmm. I know a bit, but let's talk about it. So I think we're going to do a Frank deep dive on that.
Yeah. Frank's our researcher, as you have come to know and love about him.
Yeah. And I'll along with that, the more like occult, like deeply occult stuff. Somebody brought up, we want a little bit more on witchcraft. And I said, Ooh. That's fine. It falls into the clairvoyaging umbrella.
Yeah. So. And then I'm going to be doing a series on inner child healing. So some episodes will be both Frank and I. Some we will kind of take the helm and be separated. Don't worry. We always come back together and collaborate. What's this? He's holding my hand.
Listen, this is not going to be
nervous.
What is it?
What?
Like a consensual decoupling?
A conscious uncoupling.
What a stupid. I mean, cool.
You know, great job, Gwyneth.
Thanks, Pepper Potts.
No, but you know, it's just a way for us to stretch ourselves, our various practices. So yeah, I'm excited to see how this goes.
On the whole, like what's gone on is that Lauren is doing things in groups and I am doing things in individuals. So, and we have like different takes on that. So, but different, but related. So, extremely related.
Yes.
Too related. So we're trying some new things. Yeah.
Well, you just mentioned my group stuff. And I want to just say that you hear it in the pre-roll, right? You've heard it. I have a workshop that has launched. It is available for sign up as of now. It starts March 4th.
But ideally, these are still going on a rolling basis. So check the website, see when the next one is, and sign up.
Yeah. It'll be one session per week for 4 Wednesdays. If you can't do that one, there's another one that starts on Fridays. So take a look and see if it is of interest to you. Also, I'm collecting a waiting list I'd like to have a few free spots available. So if you're interested in that, will you send me an email and I'll send you the link?
You know, our thing is not wanting like financial constraints, if that's a thing. We're really interested in the healing.
Yeah.
So like get on that list if you need it.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Yeah. Grab a free spot. Sure. Come on. Everybody needs healing. With that.
Come on. Everybody needs healing.
I need it right now. You can hear my cold. Can you hear my cold? Children. Am I right?
And I'm pretending not to have one.
You're doing a great job.
Thanks.
Okay, let's get to Fēnix.
Fēnix.
We were like, can we hang out? She's so cool. You will really.
I almost didn't let her get off the call. I was like,
I know.
Nah, you stick around now. You stay here now.
Yeah. We really enjoyed talking to Fēnix. I think you'll really like the conversation. Her insight is really awesome. And let's get to it.
Let's hit it. Send it.
Let it rip.
That's a little weak.
Okay. Let the beat drop.
Oh, nice.
Thanks. Fēnix, thank you so much for joining us on Clairvoyaging today. We are thrilled to talk to you. Can you start with your backstory and what are you working on? What do you do now? And what led you here?
Hell yeah. Hello. It's so good to be here. It's really good to be here. Thanks for having me. Yeah. So I grew up on an island off the coast of New Jersey. And as a young child, as I feel like I see most children are, I was incredibly sensitive to the world of energy and sensitive to the world of spirit. And I learned pretty quickly that telling my dad about the sad ghost that I was talking to in the closet was not going to get me connection with him, but was just going to send him into fear.
Oh gosh, yeah. And
so, as I think a lot of people do, I shut down my intuitive abilities as a young child. And, you know, I grew up in a Polish Catholic kind of vibration in my family on my mother's side, and was raised by my mom. And we grew up across the street from the church. And so it was just this like presence in my life growing up. You know, I like to say I was like an altar boy, you know, like I wore the robes, I carried the candles for the priest, and always often with like kind of just this feeling like I was being forced to do that.
Yeah.
It wasn't necessarily something that I chose. And then when I was a teenager, you know, I grew up, you know, was in high school, I entered a fuck God phase as you do. And just was in a lot of, you know, teenage rebellious energy, like God isn't real, just really rebelled against like my childhood upbringing, right, in terms of Catholicism. And then when I went to college, I was about 18, 19, I like to say that like a number of different things started to weave together that sort of resulted in this spiritual awakening. One, I was trying mushrooms and acid for the first time. Two, I had a Reiki attunement because I was just kind of open to new things and was exploring, and someone was doing a Reiki thing on my college campus, and I got a Reiki attunement. And what I know now, which I didn't know then, right, where that attunement is essentially sort of opening up certain levels of your crown chakra. And then the third thing, which was very much happening and a part of this awakening for me as well, was like I was in a really karmic, very codependent, very deeply toxic relationship at the time. And so it was kind of having me just really a lot of shadows and things were coming up in my face, and I was very unequipped to handle them. But all of that coalesced into just this like moment of spiritual awakening when I was 18 or 19. And I just very kind of suddenly became very sensitive to energy. And I became very like aware of the spiritual world in a way that I hadn't been before. And I was incredibly overwhelmed. I was like so overwhelmed by that sensitivity. I mean, it was like, you know, at college, like all this pressure from academia, the overwhelm of other people's energy. And so I dropped out as you do, right?
Yeah.
And I decided to kind of start walking my own path. And I decided to travel around. I decided to kind of explore different spiritual communities. I spent a good amount of time at a Buddhist monastery in Southern California. I also, during this time, I was exploring all the new age stuff, right? Like ecstatic dance and like more Reiki and just like all that kind of spiritual stuff to some degree. And during that time, I also definitely, as a young woman, experienced running into just the shadows of that world and the shadows of spirituality, where I experienced like manipulative, abusive male spiritual teachers, some female spiritual teachers, just a lot of shadow with regards to spirituality. I'm a Scorpio stellium after all, so gotta explore that shadow. And then my path ended up where I ended up going back to school and grounding in Boulder, Colorado. I went to Naropa University, which is kind of like a Buddhist liberal arts college. And it was really in Boulder where I started finding grounded psychic spiritual mentorship. And I started really training in the lineage of psychic training that I now teach, which is a kind of spiritual training and clairvoyant development. And that really just helped me get into my body. It helped me learn how to actually discern between what energy is mine and what energy is not mine. It helped me open up my third eye so I could start to really perceive and relate to the world of energy from a place of consciousness and awareness. And that's where I really started walking my path more. And I just like never stopped. Like I studied psychic development. That was like 10 years ago. And I've just never stopped taking classes, never stopped developing my healing abilities, my ability to read and interpret energy. And so, now I'm a professional psychic. I do readings and healings, but my real passion is in training other intuitives. And I've been doing that for the last 4 years. Really training other highly sensitive people to awaken and develop their own intuitive abilities so that they love themselves more, that they can heal themselves, and that they can help other people heal.
That's amazing. Wait, so when you were in high school or a teenager, was there a moment that caused you to say, fuck God? Like, that's quite a turn.
Yeah, it is. It's, yeah. So for me, I see that as like related to two things. One, as a teenager, I was like incredibly depressed, I was really just looking back, right, with the perspective that I now have at me as a teenager. I was just like an incredible sponge, like an energy sponge. I was just like soaking up all the energy that was around me. And I was inundated with like other people's energy to the point where it was really hard to know who I was.
Right. Yeah.
Which it kind of leads me to like when I first got one of my first Reiki healings during that sort of more awakening moment after the teenage fuck God moment. One of the first things that the Reiki healer told me was like, oh, I have a message from source for you. And, that message is be you.
Oh.
And I could have learned that from Sesame Street.
And at the time, I was kind of like, okay, be you. That's so simple. I don't even know what that means, But honestly, it wasn't until like last year where I was reflecting on that. And I was like, that was fucking profound.
Yeah.
Because like I wasn't being me. I was being everyone else. And that was just the nature of being a sensitive person and not knowing how to manage my energy, right? And not knowing how to own my spiritual ability of being a trance medium, which is my ability to become something that I'm not, right? When I channel a being, I'm becoming something that I'm not. That's a spiritual ability. And I just had no mentorship or direction around that at all. And so it just resulted in sort of this depression and intense self-loathing and like just a lot of just not knowing who I was and becoming everyone else, right? Becoming who I was around. And so a part of the fuck God was kind of that. A part of it was also just that teenage rebellious spirit kind of human development kind of moment, which maybe I'll resonate with, where I just observed, I remember being an 18-year-old, a 20-year-old, 21st-year-old, and just like, I just wanted to blow shit up. I just wanted to change the world, and I wanted people to get on board. And like, it's just, like there's that African proverb, which could probably use better crediting, but I don't know. And I don't know if it's even shared, but it's like, right, the youth, if you don't like tend to the youth, they will like burn the village down. Right? And so it's like, there is that like fiery young like spirit that I feel like is present at that time, and just in terms of development. And it resonates for everyone differently, but like that was a part of me sort of rebelling and being like, against what I had been taught. And I think that's just kind of natural to some degree too.
Yeah. Yeah. It is interesting thinking about like teens having that, I don't know, like carrying other people's energy all the time. And I feel like people don't talk about it enough in a school, like teen setting, or even with, younger than teens, like kids carrying each other's energy. And like if you were able to ground yourself truly when you were that age, I don't know, maybe there's a little less depression or something.
Yeah, but probably.
Like, yeah, it's really interesting to think about. You're just like, there's so much stuff all the time.
Or just to have the spiritual tools of discernment.
Yeah.
Like, this is you, this is them.
Right.
Be yourself.
Be you.
Be you.
Yeah. Yeah. We need those tools taught in school.
I wish we knew teachers named Fēnix.
Yeah. Right? What schools? Yeah. Like, get me into your schools. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I totally agree. I think that.
Wait, you should start a school called the University of Fēnix.
It'll really confuse people, but then people will be like tricked into like learning spiritual tools.
Yeah.
No. I think society at large is kind of catching up. Like right now, people are like, oh, emotional health, that's real, or mental health, that's important, right? And it's like, we're kind of getting there where it's like, yeah, energetic health, spiritual health, like that is also really important. Being able to learn how to manage your energy, right? Which is an aspect of energetic or spiritual health, caring for your spiritual self, your spiritual body in that way. It's just as important as physically showering, right? You want to take the energy shower too.
Yeah. When we leave like a busy event or like a birthday party or something with our family, we have 2 small kids. We get in the car and sometimes we call it a car shower or a car wash. And we go, everybody let go. There's a lot going on in this car right now. Like, everybody let everything go. Some of this stuff is not ours. And
that
everyone's
is so
like,
amazing.
I release what does not belong to me. We like do these, brush our bodies off to get the energy.
Yeah. Open the window, throw it out.
Yeah. Throw it out the window.
Oh my God, I love that.
Yeah.
Your kids are so lucky. That's so awesome.
I mean, we've had like...
No, it's okay. We're scarring them in other ways. Don't you worry.
I'm sure, yeah.
Get in the shower. Stop talking. It's time to go to bed. But yeah, I mean, we've been lucky enough to like literally speak to people like you once a week to have these tools and, raise them in a certain way. Was your family like... what the hell, Fēnix, when you were in, like backing away from the church, or was it like, oh, she's going to walk her own path?
It was less the church. My parents and just my family in general, most of the people around me were like, what the hell, when I dropped out of college. They were like, okay, we could take you sort of like finding your own path within these limits,
Yeah.
But then when I was kind of like, I'm dropping out of college, I have no idea where I'm going, or when I'm going back, or if I'm going back, or I want to follow this more like spiritual path. They were like, what, Yeah. And that was, speaking of energetic health, right? Like that was such a time, looking back, right? Where I can, and throughout the course of my life, I've kind of had to always sort of navigate this growth period or this experience of kind of growing and getting my space to my family's fear, right? Because, and maybe I'll relate to this and people who are listening to relate, but like, I love my family. They love me. The best way they know how to love me sometimes is through throwing a lot of fear at me.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I feel like that's like what parents do.
Yeah. And I'm like, I'm not going to blame them for that. They're doing the best they can, but
Right.
also it impacts me. And so I need to like work my space so that I can have that be less and less of an impact on me, so I can actually choose my own path.
Right.
Yeah. And not like start operating based on what their perception of fear for you is. Yeah.
I mean, we have a tendency to treat our kids, and our parents treat us this way, as like a movie we've seen before. Like, oh, I know this character. Oh no, if you do that, this is going to happen. I've seen this one.
Yeah.
and like, you know, not allowing for small mistakes and growth and all this stuff. You know, our daughter is very much a hard lessons person, and I can talk to her until the cows come home, and then I'm like, oh, okay, I'm my dad now. I've become my dad.
Yeah.
But you know, it's letting. It's so tough to see people, you know, going through hard times, seeing people you love going through a hard time, and letting them carry that out. And being supportive. They'll find their way faster and in a better health space if you're supportive along the way. Cool, go do that. Don't hurt yourself, but go do that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I trust you, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Because the whole thing of this kind of journey is that we're also learning to trust ourselves on that path, right? And yeah, I mean, you probably know all about it, like externalizing your power. I have a thing where I need to understand myself through context of the things that go on around me. Right. And if you feel like you need to, you know, like go, you know, work at a Buddhist monastery for context to see if that works for you, that's kind of awesome. You know, how was that?
Before I answer that, what you're saying reminds me a lot, because I know y'all are into human design from listening to the podcast.
Yeah.
So I'm a 3/5 in human design.
Wait, I think that's what I am. I just suddenly forgot.
Thought so from listening, like there was that resonance, but I think you mentioned at one point you had a third line. I love it.
I forgot.
Gotta look it up.
Yeah.
3/5.
I'm a 3/5 too. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like,
are you an MG?
Yeah, I am. I am also an MG. Yeah.
All right. Okay. Trial and error, baby.
Trial and error, right?
Yeah.
My life has been and will continue to be like an insane roller coaster of trial and error and learning so much from learning what doesn't work, right? And ironically, both of my parents are actually also 3/5s. And so there's like an interesting dynamic between like, right, like how you were saying about being a parent, giving your child space to kind of like, especially as a 3/5, like fuck up and make that mistake and learn and grow from it. So yeah. So anyway, the 3/5 life. I wonder if your daughter is a 3/5 or has a third one.
She's a 2/4.
2/4, interesting.
Yeah.
The natural. Yeah.
She is just for her, it's just stubbornness. And like, I know what I'm doing. You don't know. And we're like, okay. And then the thing that we, warned against happens. And we're like, why do you want to learn the hard way, man?
Yeah. Yeah.
She's 8. So like, we give her some space with that.
Of course.
What am I again? 1/4. So of course I want to be like,
you're a 1/4. Yeah.
I've looked this up. I've looked this up, Gene. You can't do that because this is going to happen. And I know you. I've been studying you since you were born.
I did all the research.
Yeah. But that's fine.
The investigator.
Hang out with that jerk kid. I'm sure she'll change tomorrow.
Dude, I mean, I'm not a parent. I want to be, but like parenting seems to be like the most like hardcore spiritual experience you can have on the planet, honestly.
It's wild.
It really is.
Yeah. But it's also like there's a dichotomy between like, I still feel like a kid. I'm still learning. I'm still going through life. And now I have to raise one and, allowing her to have the growth opportunities that I didn't necessarily have, or, it's weird.
it's been interesting to like have this podcast where we've learned from so many people like you, where we were parents already when we started this, and it's kind of helped inform how we gently support our kids with, you know, energy protection and mantras and boundaries, you know, like all the things. Yeah.
That is so cool.
Right. Yeah.
We're
I
lucky
was
to have you.
I was a very sensitive kid, and the strategy was to toughen up. You know what I mean? And that,
for a man, of course. Yeah.
oh, of course.
Right. That's the patriarchal program.
And look at me, I'm so tough now. I wear a quartz pendant around my neck. I'm a tough man.
I love that. Yes.
We went off track. We were going to talk about, you were going to tell us how the monastery was.
Yeah, you know, so it was Thich Nhat Hanh's monastery in San Diego, actually. Right outside Escondido. Escondido is where it is. So Deer Park. And I mean, that was a really powerful experience, because for the first time in my life, probably, I mean, like, I kind of did some yoga classes and stuff in high school. Like, I was that kind of kid in the sense where I was like, right, I was open, even though I was sort of absorbing all these different things, where I really started to sit with myself, right? Because that's what we did there. We sat a lot in meditation. Right. And that's when a lot of like trauma from my past actually started to come up for me, like where I, you know, had moments of realizing like, of like sexual abuse when I was younger, you know, or something like that. Like right? Like the way that your body protects you is you forget those things. And then it was like when I was sitting with all that stuff started to come back. And it was interesting because I think my journey since then, especially, has always been this like interweaving between like the world of spirit and then the world of the body, and like how do you heal trauma in both areas? Because they really are both involved. And I think a lot of people can kind of go towards one extreme or the other. Like really into the spirit realm or really into the body realm. And in my personal experience of healing, like my own healing has been having to really weave both of those kinds of realms together to get like cohesive healing. And so the monastery was really kind of where that a lot of my self-healing sort of started, but it was a long path to actually really resolving those things. But yeah, you said same. Lauren, do you resonate with that?
Yeah. I mean, when we started this podcast, it was like, let's see if we can enhance our intuitive abilities. Like we don't call ourselves like clairvoyant, or, I mean, now maybe claircognizant, or
I wouldn't go that far.
But like, we were like, can you develop your intuition?
Hell yeah.
It was sort of the like question, the thesis that we were going to answer. And part of it was like, I'm like, I've heard of Reiki. I've had one session, you know, maybe I'm going to go learn how to actually do it and be, get Reiki attuned and all that. So that began my like self-healing journey, which I had been, for years, like I've healed a bunch of stuff like in my mind, trauma and relationships and whatever, like I'm pretty good. And then I got into the Reiki class and was like, oh no, this is a journey and it's just getting started. And then thus began a 2-year process, or basically like a full like year of stuff. And it was learning how to like listen to your body, interoception, and then also like understanding how to kind of talk to like my spirit guides or the universe. So yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, I feel like you've been doing the same thing.
Yeah. At some point, especially like, how you manage like your past traumas, right? I mean, you know about this. You think you've worked past it. That's something that happened in the past. We don't need to address that anymore. I'm over it. And like, you get into quiet moments and quiet spaces and you're like, oh, I'm carrying a deep, quiet pain with me everywhere I go. And it's affecting my decisions and how I move forward. And I now have what the community calls a self-limiting belief or some kind of guilt and it's not logical. It's not something you've thought about. It's something that is a part of you. It's calcified when you left it alone without addressing it. Yeah. And, we've talked about on the show, especially in the last couple of episodes, a lot about using your body as a map. The like integration of body and spirit is one system. They are separate, but they are one thing at the same time, and they inform each other. And by turning one off, you're ignoring the other, Yeah. And people try to think their way out of these things a lot, and like come with, I want to be this way, and I'm going to do this stuff, and they're trying to override their subconscious and what their body is telling them, and not address it, and it comes down the line later. It's gonna come back if you don't address it now. Yeah. That's like, and that's what we're all about these days is like getting down to what's the, and people ignore it too, because it seems like it's going to be a big ass job to get through. Yeah. And we're trying to figure out like, what's the best way to get through it meaningfully, but also quickly. So it doesn't feel like your entire life has to be flipped upside down to heal or be spiritual, Yeah. Mm-hmm. And you're talking about like intertwining how this works. I mean, it's kind of a bit of a mission for us right now is to figure out exactly how this works in a westernized coffee shop kind of way. Like I could do this at a coffee shop in 10 minutes. Someone's going to see me cry, but that's okay.
Do you find like, because you've been doing that healing work for so long that now, do you get there quicker when it comes to like, oh, I've identified this thing, this trauma or this pain or whatever that has come up, and I've processed it faster than I maybe would have 10 years ago?
1,000,000%. Yeah. I feel like I always tell my students and the people that I work with, it's like, it's never that you don't find shit, to work on. Like,
exactly. The shit's there.
Yeah. It's always,
there's always
there's always new shit.
There's always stuff to work with. And what does change, because healing, and especially the way that, I've worked and the way that I teach is like using your intuition, right, to heal yourself, to peer into your subconscious, to have that more, I really see intuition as this incredible ability that we all have. It's like a muscle. You can work it out, and it really makes you more conscious of what is there for you to work on for yourself, right? And so when you work out that muscle, it gets stronger and stronger, and the process gets smoother and quicker. Right? Like I had a teacher once who was saying, it's not that I don't lose my space. It's that I lose it and I like reclaim it so quickly you don't notice. And it's like, it does get, in my personal experience, like I'll go through some kind of, like I was just working a really deep core sort of painful memory a few days ago. And I was like, I have the podcast in a few days, like, am I going to sort of emotionally be ready?
Yeah.
Right. And I'm like, yeah, because it just like, it cycles through. Right. Like, and whereas like 5 years ago, 10 years ago, that would have taken me months, or something like that. It does sort of just, and I see that as related to just like, it's like, I use the metaphor of building a muscle a lot, because it's just like, your muscles just get stronger. Your body gets more used to lifting more weight.
Yeah.
But kind of what you're saying around how do you situate this in our current world, something that I really love from like the trauma world that I've learned and has definitely been true in my experience is that experience of like, or that principle of titrating, right? Where it's like, this pain is actually too much for me to feel 100% right now, all in one moment. If I actually just spend like 10 minutes with it every so often, that's actually going to be a much more like nervous system friendly way to work through my healing. And that's where I've kind of struggled with some spiritual spaces out there is there can be, and maybe y'all resonate with this, but like a lot of like emphasis on the catharsis, right? Where it's like, go in really hard and do it, you know? And I'm just like, where am I? It's some
they're
kind
going
of
full Shia LaBeouf out there. I don't know if the Shia LaBeouf method is the way to go.
And I'm like, that is not trauma-informed, people. Like you can do trauma-informed energy work where it's like, you don't have to address it all in one moment. You probably just don't have the capacity to do that. And if you do, you kind of like blow out your nervous system.
Right. Yeah. Dip a toe.
It's funny because we also, we want to get to the big things, but like we've been talking about for people that aren't comfortable with the space, sometimes chipping away at the guy who stole your parking spot last week and your anger surrounding that. Let's start with that. Yeah. And like, let's build that muscle. That's an easy one. Let's get over that.
Yeah.
And then maybe getting towards the bigger thing later. But like, yeah, I mean, it's for the like gurus that want to shock you. I sometimes feel like that's kind of like ego for them too, because they want you to have a cathartic experience under their eye.
Totally. That is a part of what I've had to kind of work as I became more of like a, advanced healer, right? Where I was like, how do I not make this about me?
Yeah.
Right? I think that's a really critical step that you take as a healer as you develop. It's like, taking your fourth chakra out of it, right? Like your sense of self, like not healing from that place. Yeah, totally. I agree with you around the guru thing.
I genuinely feel like we're moving out of a period of gurus and like traditional leadership. And
because a lot of them we're finding out that they're corrupt.
Really messed up.
A lot of them are in files that are being released by the DOJ right now. Yeah, I know.
It's like, maybe those gurus don't know everything. Maybe they're not as wise as we think they are.
I kind of feel like Fēnix should have just spent more time with the Catholic priests. That was probably the right way to go about it.
Probably should have just given all of my spiritual power to the Catholic priests.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, they're safe.
I actually had a cool dream. This is reminding me of like a number of years ago. So I had a dream a few years ago, experience on the astral, where I was giving a healing, like an energy healing to someone. And the Catholic priest that I grew up with, like came and approached me. And he was like watching what I was doing. He was like, oh, that's really interesting. That's really cool. Like, and he was being just like kind of inspired and like accepting, and then like walked away. And when I came back into my body the next morning, I was kind of reading the energy of that dream. And I was like, what was that?
Yeah.
It was just sort of like me coming to terms with like that validation from that like spiritual power that I had in my psyche as a child, right? And like it's actually valid, the kind of spirituality that I'm practicing or teaching or doing these days, right?
Right.
So yeah,
that really speaks to like your subconscious too, that you have so much, just like zero doubt in your work too.
That is cool. Also, like, moving forward, sometimes we do choose an enemy, as an example of what not to be. And the truth is, like, your yesteryear's Catholic priest, they're people of their time, right? And like, if they wanted to get into spirituality, that was probably what was available to them if they were over here. So they can't all be bad,
Yeah.
Or they didn't get caught. One of the two. But let's just say they're not all that bad all the time. Some of them are.
It's a good thing you have zero religious trauma.
Oh, it's fine. What? Because I know predators on a first name basis? Yeah, it's good. We're fine.
I want to speak to what you said, Lauren, about the doubt, because I feel like that's so, I love that reflection. Like, thank you for that reflection, because I feel like that's something that as an intuitive, and maybe you all have had this experience too, the self-doubt is one of the major things that I feel like I help my clients and like my students with. And I'm always telling them, it's like, we are socialized as highly sensitive people in this culture that invalidates intuition, that invalidates the spiritual world. It's like, you're going to have to spend a few years clearing that shit out, you know, like, and it eventually does get to that place, right? Through practice and through letting go of all that social energy in your space that isn't you, where you do come to a place where you have way more like certainty and, confidence. I'm thinking like, what's the opposite of doubt, right? Like confidence and trust in your own intuitive abilities, but it's a process.
I think that's a long process for a lot of people. Just what?
I mean, yeah. Sure is.
Sure.
Including the two people at this table.
I get it.
Still working through it.
Yeah.
I personally, like, I've noticed I've let go of a lot of the self-judgment of even being in this space now.
Yeah.
Having grown up as a very sensitive person. And even in the last few months, as I'm like living more into this world, I'm finding myself being even more sensitive, or I should say, like, my core sensitivity is returning, and I'm like quicker to tears, quicker to emotions and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's true.
And at the same time, I'm like, fuck, this sucks. Because I am, to a certain extent, like relearning how to interact with the outside world, you know?
Yeah.
From a more sensitive standpoint, which I had masked for such a long time. So, you know, we live in a nice neighborhood now, and there's like a bunch of our kids are friends with a bunch of parents on the street. They're always outside and everyone wants to hang out. And I'm like, too much. I need space. I'm learning how to do this all over again, you know?
Yeah.
But at the same time, I know that this isn't optional, you know? Like living into your true authenticity is not optional, and we all need to do it more if we're going to keep moving in the right direction.
Yeah. This has been a whole journey of like, just not living your life based on the potential of someone else's opinion, like the possibility of someone else's negative opinion, which is ultimately just like that inside, like that voice that's the worst person to sit next to, you know, that's like, you're not good at this. You're not supposed to do this.
I've labeled this a panel of impossible judges that live inside you.
Yeah. And like, stopping yourself from doing everything you want to do just because of those stupid judges.
Yeah. Right. And like my question to that is always like, is that your energy? Right. Like whose energy is that is like shitting on you? Cause I'm like, you as a soul, you don't hate yourself. That's like antithesis to being just a soul. Like you don't invalidate yourself like that. That's just not what happens. Yeah.
It's so many other people's voices or opinions or your expectation of what it might be.
Yeah.
Judgment you might have that's been inferred in your direction at some point that you've internalized and held on to.
Right.
It can be let go of.
Yep.
It needs to be.
It is currently being let go of.
What I always say with regards to that is like, if you picked it up, you can put it down, you know, like you can,
I love that.
You can put it down.
Yeah.
But what you were saying, Frank, about sensitivity is so real. And when you were talking about that, I was like, you know, looking at the energy of that, it's like becoming alive again. Like that's really, it's like becoming alive is like really the path of like resensitizing, because in my view, what I see
resensitizing. I like resensitizing.
Resensitizing.
I don't mean to interrupt you, but I don't know if you've noticed whenever you say something that's really cool, Lauren and I both go, like we're eating a nice piece of chocolate cake.
I do too.
Sorry, continue.
I love the giving and receiving it. What was I going to say? I think a lot of what I help sensitive people with too, and has definitely been a part of my own path, is right that like a lot of people who come to me will be like, you know, I'm so overwhelmed by other people's energy, right? Mm-hmm. And it's just like, that doesn't need to be your forever experience as a sensitive person, right? You build the like muscle of your intuition. You build your ability to manage your energy, which is what I teach. Like that becomes stronger and stronger, and it doesn't become that you become less sensitive. Actually, in my experience, you become more sensitive, but you become more aware and more empowered and know what to do with it, right?
That's interesting. Yeah, we've had I know some of our listeners who have written to us. I remember a couple of them saying like, I'm super kind of bogged down by other people's energy, and like, what's like the thing? What's like something that you teach your students on how to kind of not bubble yourself, but like a little bit.
Yeah. What does the strength look like? Because you had said earlier that you like yourself were very like porous in terms of like, picking up other people's energy.
Yeah.
And now you seem like a badass. So I'd love to know about this transition.
Yeah.
I think that energetic hygiene is starting to become more of a popular thing, right? Where people are like, oh yeah, surround yourself with golden light and things like that, and that will help. And that definitely is like a part of it for sure. Like in terms of what I was trained in, you know, I was trained in clairvoyant psychic tools for energy management. So it's like you're using your intuitive abilities to give yourself a healing at the end of the day so that you let go of that energy, right? Like spiritual psychic tools that you actually take with you when you die. They are spiritual tools that your consciousness retains, right? As you move on to the other side. And so I'm always like, what kind of value do we put on that? I don't know whenever I'm telling people about these things.
The credits are transferable. I'd love to hear this kind of thing.
Yeah.
But the real practice is like the way, and what I love and what I feel like is the ever evolving practice is using your intuition to look into yourself, to become aware of your subconscious, which is why I love teaching. You know, I teach all of the clairs, but like the clairvoyance, it allows you to literally see into your subconscious, right? Like with clarity. Clairvoyance means to see with clarity. And we can all develop this. That's why I like love the premise of y'all's podcast, because you're like, how do we develop this? And like for me, I don't see that intuition is this special ability that people are born with. Mm-hmm. I see that it's like everyone is intuitive. Everyone has intuitive abilities, and that's just a part of being a soul. And you can develop them just like you would learn how to play the piano. And if someone is born with a very highly developed clair, they developed it in a past life. You know, it's not like it was just this gift that came out of nowhere. It comes from development. And so what I teach my students is how to use those tools to learn how to get better at giving themselves healings, right? And protecting themselves, but then also looking in your subconscious and like, okay, so that person just like threw a lot of anger at you, and it got into your auric field and maybe even got into your body, the energy of it got into a certain chakra. Where in you was there some kind of thing in you, maybe from childhood, that you were like a match for that, right? Where you allowed that into your space. And the more that you work those subconscious things, right, the less that other people's energy ultimately affects you. You know, it's not like we're all affected by each other. I don't prescribe to this idea of like, then you become this like autonomous being who is not a part of like, anyone else, but you are able to, right, reclaim your space way quicker. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I should say I used to get more triggered. I was more naturally attuned to my own sensitivities, right?
Yeah.
I was really bad at math, for example. People who are quick studies at math, it was like, oh, hold on a minute. This isn't clicking with how I operate really. And it still doesn't. being called like slow or dumb to learn like in my 20s, when it would be like, oh, you're so fucking stupid, Frank. That was my match. When someone said that to me, that would light me up, and I'd be we are not cool right now. Not even close.
Exactly.
So that's you letting that emotion into your auric field and into your body.
I mean, if we're talking matchsticks, like my personal sense of that would immediately light up a chakra, and I would go into like a defensive mode and just
a match as in a matchstick.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, I assume.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm talking about.
Okay.
It's a match.
Yeah.
Whereas like if you were totally neutral and someone said that to you and you didn't in some way carry some pain around that, or in some subconscious way believe that energy wouldn't be able to get in so much. Right. It would just be like, oh, that person thinks I'm stupid.
Water off a duck's back.
That's not, I don't carry that. So like someone being like, Lauren, you're done. Well, no, it's the way. It's actually, I do have a different form of that from like, you take forever, like your stories take a long time, from like my brothers making fun of me when I was a kid. But it's a different way. It wasn't dumb. It would be like, something like, okay, like exactly what I'm doing right now. If you made fun of me for this story, then I would kind of start like feeling it in my body.
I see.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, I do speed you along sometimes.
Yeah. And then sometimes I get triggered and I say,
it's true.
Stop, give me space.
Right.
Because that's something I've been healing over the last 2 years.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So,
but a lot of it was a self-judgment. It's always the like, well, what if they're right? And that's where we compensate. I always talk about compensating, like how people compensate with their triggers, and we compensate a lot. We tell ourselves, no, that can't be true. I don't want that to be true, and it generates this friction in yourself of like, but what if it is? Now I'm mad. This is too much.
Right. I think that the whole idea around energetic hygiene is becoming more popular, and what I've found to be the most effective, which is what I teach, is the world of spirit is the world of imagery. It's the world of your quote unquote imagination. Like the world of your body, like your body communicates through sensations, and you as a spirit communicate through images. And so when you use tools that are based in images, they're going to be way more powerful than if you were just saying words or something like that, right? Like if you're conscious of the realm of reality that is kind of, I don't want to say above because it's not like hierarchical, but like beyond the words, right? Which is the realm of like energy, pure energy and imagery. That's going to be a more effective form of protection because you're actually lining up with the spirit realm, right? Like we all communicate spiritually, whether we're aware of it or not. This is what allows me to communicate, right? I studied interspecies intuitive communication, like talking to your animals and things like that. They're talking to you through images. And so it's like, if you can become aware of the images that they're sending you, which is what I teach people how to do to tune into their intuition, so you can actually receive those and communicate through that language, the spirit to spirit kind of language. It's just going to be a different kind of more, in my view, more effective, more kind of like powerful communication than if you're just saying a word, right? Like if you're going to do a mantra, visualize something with it, it's going to add a certain degree of like cohesion and interdimensional power to the experience. That's just been my experience.
This is so cool because I have been reading about like deeper concept of like actually manifesting, where it's not just words you're saying and hoping you believe it at some point.
Yes. And
I've been learning about how the formula is a combination of things. You could think a thought, it's not going to help you. You can verbalize it. It's not going to be the only way to do it. You have to imagine it. You have to feel it.
Yes.
You have to, and like this special formula is the formula that gets you into that space. And what you're saying makes a ton of sense. And I also want to ask you actually, because you're saying like a spirit speaks through images. And that's how animal communication works, because they speak through images. That's like also just mediumship, isn't it? That's how mediumship works.
Exactly, for sure.
So if you're a medium, you can talk to animals.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah. I mean, a little bit, maybe like it's the same skill set, right?
Yeah.
That you're applying to like the way you communicate to a flower, the way that I read someone's soul essence when they come in for a reading with me. I'm, I'm speaking through images usually, right? In a reading with someone, and they're showing me images, and I'm just relaying back like what they're showing me.
Huh. Mm-hmm. That's interesting. Okay. And then this in terms of like psychic, I don't know, fortifying, so you're not so porous. It's really interesting too, because I was reading an old book written by an author named Dion Fortune, or that's her chosen name. It was from like the 30s or something, and it's called Psychic Self-Defense.
Oh, I love that.
She was like an occultist, but like in a super cool way, not like a weird Aleister Crowley way. And she talks a lot about the how we have psychic abilities and stuff like that, which are very like intuitive, and people are born with them. But like if you're not trained, like it can be dangerous, or you can hurt yourself by being too available. You have like your occultists who are all ritual, and like that's all they focus on is ritual and magic with a K and all this stuff, and it's all like very performative and theatrical. And then you have psychology, which is all mental and doesn't actually address the other two, which are also just as important, right? Like getting to the bottom of this shit and trying to make it work faster and better for everyone.
Yeah.
You saying that like spirit speaks in imagery, and like that's a really good way to protect yourself. I mean, that's huge, because you can perform rituals in your head that like are very visual and very powerful, and you don't need to I don't need to put on a robe in real life and do a salt circle and light my sword on fire and all this stuff. You could do that in your head, and it actually okay. Fēnix, I think I get it.
Yeah. Yes. Thank you. Yeah, totally. Exactly. And that's why I'm like, and that's so cool. Cause I'm remembering you have that intention, right? To kind of find ways to make it applicable to the world that we live in now, which I didn't even think about that in terms of the way I teach my work, but it really is. I mean, it's way easier to develop your consciousness to be able to use your intuition to work with the world of spirit like that. Because you don't need anything physical. You take that with you when you die, right? Like it's like you don't need anything physical, really. I mean, obviously, it's not about like fuck the physical. Like it's cool, play with it, do stuff, but you don't necessarily need it.
Yeah, it's a tool, not the tool.
Yes.
What do you tell your students who are like, I have a harder time with like visualization? My mind starts wandering or thinking about that. Someone's like, imagine a golden light around you. I don't know. My brain starts thinking about like frogs or something.
What?
And I'm like, I'm really trying to see the golden light, but now they've turned into lizards.
It's all Kermit.
It's all Kermit the Frog.
And now I'm seeing a stream, and like I don't know. Yeah. I wander. Help.
Yeah.
What's your advice for that?
Yeah, that's a great question, because I get that a lot. And
about the frogs specifically, right?
Specifically, people keep referencing frogs for
like it's just lizards and frogs.
I don't know why everyone keeps seeing that. Yeah. I mean, my personal experience, again, like I said, as a child, and I do personally see that most children come in with the ability to just perceive the world of spirit very just plainly. They see, the energy, they hear it, they can visualize, like, just because there's no sort of social programming yet that says to shut that down. Yeah. And so as a kid, I had that very naturally, but then I, like most of us, learned to shut it down out of like, safety or fear, or, as a kid, my parents fought a lot, and looking at the energy of that was pretty terrifying. Like it was scary. So it's like there's all kinds of ways that and reasons why you kind of shut down your natural spiritual abilities. And so when I started doing this intensive psychic development, I wasn't seeing stuff for months. I mean, like probably for the first year of doing the work, it was like I would have moments, but it was not cohesive. And it wasn't something that I could kind of have a sense of command over. And so, yeah, one answer to that is definitely just practice. It is just practice and being gentle with yourself and realizing that there's a lot of stuff you need to let go of, a lot of that invalidation, any of that fear that's blocking your ability to just see with clarity, to have access to that natural, clairvoyant ability or intuitive ability. So a lot of it is just like committing to the practice, for sure.
Okay. Great.
I'm gonna yes and on this one.
Go off.
I think that's also where actual physical ritualism might actually come into play. If you're having a hard time thinking it, just do it. But make it easy.
The intention.
Golden light.
The intention.
Golden
the
light.
intention carries a long way. Yeah.
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 Yeah, that's true.
And you start to wake it up, right? It's like a process of waking up. And so it does happen if you commit to the practice, right? It's like I always tell people this. It's like playing the piano. Like, would you expect yourself to be able to play Mozart like the first time you're trying the keys? Like, no. You learn scales, you practice those over and over and over again, and then you are able to perceive the world of spirit, the world of energy with more clarity, the more and more that you kind of clear everything out and practice. But everyone can do it. Everyone can do it.
And you can too.
It's funny because I'm a visual, like I say I'm a visual learner, and I see images like when I've had like visitation dreams, and it's very vivid, but sometimes the visualization
it's full just ADD time.
I think it's ADD. Yeah.
Well, why don't you talk yourself through the steps?
I think that does help. I think that's part of it.
Beginning.
Just saying stuff out loud, which is part of when I'm like doing healing stuff. Sometimes it's out loud by myself.
Yeah.
Totally.
Talking to my little inner 12-year-old or something.
Well, and something else I want to say to that is like the wandering that you're noticing, that's actually, there's a reason for that. There's if I'm in meditation and I'm grounding, I'm using my visual tools to give myself a healing, kind of clear out from the energy of the day. And I start wandering into some memory of like when I was a child, there's a reason why I'm wandering into that. For some reason that's kicked up in my space. Mm-hmm. And it's sort of like, the healing, it's a part of the healing, right? And so if like you go to ground, you see frogs, or you experience frogs, it's like for some reason that is like a part of what's going on.
Something about frogs needs to be healed.
Could it God.
Sorry.
Could it ever be, is there ever a case where it's actually like a form of procrastination? Like you're afraid of what you might uncover, so your brain throws frogs at you? Is that a thing?
Totally. Yeah. That could be a thing too of what's happening for sure.
I just think about like, I was in a...
Hey, why are you scared, bro?
I was in in one of my Reiki classes when I was in like a guided meditation. Well, actually almost every guided meditation would be like, you're in a forest or you're whatever. And now you're walking to a river. And like,
you told me about this, and I think it's so funny.
What?
Well, just so it's like in Lauren's head, she's in this guided meditation. She's in the zone, right? And like the practitioner who's like leading her, it's almost like there's a fork in the path that they're walking in this like guided meditation. And there's a fork in the road, and the class and the practitioner go that way, and Lauren turned right, and they went left, and now Lauren's at the playground or something. It's very funny to
I'm
me.
like forcing myself to like Just stay in the forest. Stay in the forest. You're walking through the forest. And I'm like, my mind wanders.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of like what we were saying there. There's a reason for that, right? And so it's like if you go with the reason and you get curious about it, there's probably something there. And it is like the practice. To me, developing your intuitive abilities is the practice of like learning the art of receiving the images, receiving the information, and then learning the art of being more active with it, which is like, okay, I want to see this now, right? And can I see this now? And you actually need to practice and hone both in order to be like kind of really empowered in your intuitive abilities. It's about being able to direct it when you want to and being able to receive when you want to as well.
It's probably only a problem when you feel like you're supposed to stay on task and stay with the group. You know what I mean?
And I'm like, oh no, I'm not doing what I'm supposed to.
You've got somewhere better to go.
Yeah.
You're on a guided tour through a museum, and everyone went on to American history. You're back in Egypt still.
Yeah. She even said like, if it's just a guide. Like if you end up thinking about something else, it's fine.
Yeah, but you also get FOMO. You want to be with the group.
Yeah. I'm not on the grassy hill.
That is interesting.
I'm not on the grassy hill. I'm like, skipping around on a log or something.
Oh, with your backpack. Oh, sorry, I'm late.
Sorry, guys. I got stuck at the water fountain. Oh man. Sorry. I'm taking us on.
No, I love that. It's like carving your own path,
Yeah.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. You're a 3-5, right?
Yep.
Let's carve our own path. Yeah.
I get jealous of the 3-5s because you guys are like the heroes. You're the carve your own path kind of people, and it's pretty fun. And I say I'm the man at the desk. I'm like, well, here's how you're supposed to do it, and I have my Excel sheet open. I'm like, well, you're not quite doing it the way. There's a faster way. There is a faster way, but you do you.
I get impatient with like learning stuff, and Frank's like, hold on, I need to watch like 60 YouTube videos on how to do this at 2 times speed. I will know how to do this in 24 hours. And I'm like, I have to learn that. I don't want to.
And then I'm like,
let me just try it. Just give me the drill.
Let me just try it. Exactly. Frank, what's your type?
I am also a manifesting generator.
Okay, cool. Love it. Yeah.
Do you find, just on a quick human design tangent, do you find that people project onto you?
Yeah. I mean, I feel like that unconscious 5th line works in my favor in the sense of like, as a healer, people are like, you can help me. And I'm just like, yes, I can. Maybe. Yeah. Let's hear what you need help with. Right. And then I need to be honest about like, if I can actually help you or not. Right. But the problem solving part. Because it's unconscious for us. Right. And so it's like, I always forget, it's like, people are like, oh, there's this like seductive quality about you. And I'm like, really? Like, it's like unconscious. I'm not like consciously thinking about it. I'm consciously thinking about my last failure and what I learned from it, because it's like the 3rd line.
Same. Yeah.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah. That's funny about it being, yeah. But we had some, if you were listening to any of the human design episodes, one of them was with Lauren. She was saying with the 3-5, she's like, people love you, or they want to like burn you at the stake.
Yeah.
Or like they think they know you because they've projected their like idea of who you are onto you, and then they're like, oh, actually, that was just a projection of myself. Now I don't like you anymore.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, that happens for sure. Yeah. It's something that I've really had to kind of take to heart with the 3-5 thing is like, my life is a roller coaster. It's wild. I've done all kinds of wild shit, like, and I will continue to.
Yeah.
And like, my people are the ones who want to be on the roller coaster with me, who are like, whoa, this is kind of crazy, but kind of fun. Instead of like, get me off this fucking fucking thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Thankfully, you're willing to, I mean, since we've met, we've been in a band together.
Yes.
Done like film projects. I had an Etsy shop.
He's on the roller coaster.
I've been in improv teams.
I think we meet in the middle of the MG energy because I'm always doing weird shit too.
Yeah.
So she drags me into hers and I drag her into mine.
Yeah.
I love that.
Mine's just a little more researched at first. That's all. She'll be like, I think I want to make mugs. I'm like, what the fuck? Okay.
And then he goes on the path of, this is how you do it.
Yeah. Give me 10 minutes and then I know Kung Fu. I wish I knew Kung Fu. I don't know shit about Kung Fu.
Mug Kung Fu.
Oh man. God.
Okay. Well, we gotta. I don't want you to go. Fēnix, thank you so much for hanging out with us today. It legitimately was like so much fun, and I don't want you to go.
Yeah.
But I understand time is a thing.
You do have a seductive quality about you.
You're a very seductive quality.
Why? Thank you.
Give everybody your plugs. Tell them where to find you and what kind of things you're teaching right now.
How can they work with you?
Yeah, you can go to my website, which is phoenixgrace.com. And Phoenix is spelled in the old English way. So it's FENIX grace.com. And on Instagram, it's similar. It's like at phoenix.grace. And right now I'm really excited about this free group intuitive mentorship space that I've been holding since the beginning of the new year. So I do it once a month. It's like a free space to come and just like receive some mentorship around your intuition and, you know, just have a validating space to talk about these kinds of things. And especially for people who are just beginning, right? They can feel really overwhelming, or like, you can be like, who can I ask about this, you know, like thing that I'm experiencing. Great. So it's just a free space to come in and chat about that. And so you can find information about that on my Instagram, or you can DM me. But yeah.
That's really cool. We do like free consulting sometimes for people who are like, I'm having this thing and I don't know who to turn to. And we're like, we have this huge directory of people. So
sick.
We will send them to you for that. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah.
Thank you so much for having me. Y'all are so fun. And I love like how much we laugh. That was one thing that I always loved about listening to podcasts. Like when I was listening to it, is like, there's so much laughter, and I love that. And just thanks for having me.
Oh, that's nice.
Yay.
Yeah. You know what? This is serious business, but it doesn't have to be so serious all the time. You know what I mean?
I fucking agree.
Thank you for listening. Visit clairvoyaging.com for merchandise or to access free resources to help you on your spiritual journey. Subscribe to our Patreon for more content or join for free to chat with us. Clairvoyaging is a fiscally sponsored project of Fractured Atlas, a 501c3 charity. Make a tax-deductible donation to support our mission to foster understanding, respect, and curiosity for diverse spiritual belief systems. Clairvoyaging is a production of Wayfeather Media.